Shalom, children of the Most High. Welcome. It's time for our midweek Bible study. Tonight we're going to be going over Bereshith, which is Genesis, chapters 19 and 20. For anybody who has just happened to stumble across this video and you've never joined us before, please feel free. If you've ever read a regular novel, you know that you start at the beginning. So go ahead and watch this video, see what you think. But go back to Genesis 1:1. It's in the playlist, and Bereshith playlist, and start at Genesis 1:1, and then just watch forward, read forward, and we'll be waiting right here for you. Okay? So start over at Genesis 1:1 and catch up to us. That way you'll get a full understanding of what we're talking about and what's going on here and the dynamics of everything and all the good stuff. Don't want you to miss anything. Alright, so anyway, we're getting ready to go through Genesis, Bereshith, Genesis 19. Grab your Bibles and let's get going tonight. Okay, chapter 19. And the two messengers came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. And when Lot saw them, he rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, "Look, please, my masters, please turn in to your servant's house, and spend the night, and wash your feet, and rise early and go your way." And they said, "No, but let us spend the night in the open square." But he urged them strongly, and they turned into him, and came into his house. And he made them a feast, and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, all the people from every part, surrounded the house. And they called to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, and let us know them." So Lot went out to them through the doorway, and shut the door behind him, and said, "Please, my brothers, do not do evil. Look, please, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Please, let me bring them out to you, and do to them as you wish. Only do not deed to these men, because they have come under the shadow of my roof." But they said, "Stand back." And they said, "This one came in to sojourn, and should he always judge? Now we are going to treat you worse than them." So they pressed hard against the man, Lot, and came near to break the door down. But the men reached out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them, and shut the door. Then they snuck the men who were all... let's try that again. Verse 11. Then they snuck the men who were at the doorway of the house I'm sorry. I know, I pronounced it wrong. Verse 11. Then they struck the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, both small and great, and they wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said to Lot, "Have you anyone else here, a son-in-law, and your sons, and your daughters, and whomever you have in the city? Bring them out of this place. For we are going to destroy this place, because the cry against them has grown great before the face of Yahweh, and Yahweh has sent us to destroy it." And Lot went out and spoke to his son-in-law, who had married his daughters, and said, "Get up, get out of this place, for Yahweh is going to destroy this city." But to his son-in-law he seemed to be as one joking. And when morning dawned, the messengers urged Lot to hurry, saying, Get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of the city. And while he loitered, the men took hold of his hand, and his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters, Yahweh having compassion on him, and they brought him out, and set him outside the city. And it came to be, when they had brought them outside, that he said, Escape for your life. Do not look behind you, nor stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be consumed. And Lot said to them, Oh no, Yahweh, look, please, your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have increased your loving commitment which you have shown me by saving my life. But I am unable to escape to the mountains, lest calamity overtake me and I die. Look, please, this city is near enough to flee to, and it is small. Please let me escape there. Is it not a small matter? And let my life be saved? And he said to him, and he, capital H, he said to him, Look, I have favored you concerning this matter also, without overthrowing this city for which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I am not able to do any deed until you arrive there. So the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun had risen upon the earth when Lot entered Zoar, and Yahweh rained sulfur and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from Yahweh out of the heavens. So he, Yahweh, overthrew those cities, and all the plain, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and what grew on the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a post of salt. And Abraham arose early in the morning and went to the place where he had stood before Yahweh. And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain. And he looked, and saw the smoke of the land which went up like the smoke of a furnace. Thus it came to be, when Elohim destroyed the cities of the plain, that Elohim remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he, Yahweh, overthrew the cities in which Lot had dwelt. And Lot went up out of Zoar, and dwelt in the mountains, and his 2 daughters were with him, for he was afraid to dwell in Zoar. And he and his 2 daughters dwelt in a cave. And the firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is no man on earth to come in to us, as is the way of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and lie with him, so that we preserve the seed of our father. So they made their father drink wine that night. And the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he was not aware of it when she lay down, or when she arose. And it came to be on the next day that the firstborn said to the younger, See, I lay with my father last night. Let us make him drink wine tonight as well, and you go in and lie with him, so that we keep the seed of our father. So they made their father drink wine that night as well. And the younger arose and lay with him, and he was not aware of it when she lay down, or when she arose. Thus both daughters of Lot became pregnant by their father, and the firstborn bore a son, and called his name Moab. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. And the younger, she also bore a son, and called his name Ben-Ami. He is the father of the children of Ammon to this day. Alright, there's a lot going on here. Wow. Okay, first of all, these 2 servants that have gone down to Sodom and Gomorrah, they're not a capital M messenger. They're a lowercase m messenger, which indicates that they're angels. And they went down there to check it out because Yahweh's standing up on the hill talking to Abraham, and they had to go down and check things out for Yahweh. So when they come into the city, Lot's sitting there. And he starts chatting with them and says, you need to come in my house. It's not safe out here. And they're like, no, we're going to sleep out here and we'll be all right. And he's like, no, seriously, you need to come in my house. And he brought him in and he made him a big old meal. Man, they were eating good, I'll tell you. They ate with Abraham, then they went down and had supper with Lot. Everybody was eating good at that time. Anyway, then everybody in town started knocking on Lot's door, because they wanted to do nasty things with those angels, because they were strangers in the town, and it was so corrupt and so disgusting, and the sodomites, this is why the homosexuals, the gay people, are considered sodomites. They're not gay. Gay is happy. They're queer. But I consider them to be sodomites. Every single society throughout history that turned sodomite got schwacked. Every one. Sodom and Gomorrah. Several places throughout the Bible where they were sexually corrupt and Yah schwacked them. Greece, Rome, Pompeii, quite a few. Look at the sin in this country. Anyway, the messengers, small m, told them not to look back. And so they ran out of there, but guess what? Lot's wife had to look back. Poof, she turned into a pillar of salt. And their other two daughters and their son-in-laws, they wouldn't leave. So they got schwacked along with Sodom and Gomorrah. So then as we get further down in here, these angels tell them don't hang out in Soar, go to the mountains, and they go to Soar, and they're not accepted there, so then they run to the mountains. And his daughters took advantage of him, because they didn't think that there was any other men left on earth. So where did we end up? You probably ought to get your highlighter out for the end of the chapter here, because these are important. That his firstborn bore a son and called his name Moab. Okay. And the younger, she also bore a son and called his name Ben-Ammi. He is the father of the children of Ammon. Now we're going to see those tribes later on as we get through Exodus. We're going to see those tribes later on. We're probably going to see them here again in Bereshith also, but they get prominent because they're in the plain. Okay? So let's go on ahead and we'll hit 20. And Abraham set out from there to the land of the south, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and stayed in Gerar. And Abraham said concerning Sarah his wife, she is my sister. And Abimelech, sovereign of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But Elohim came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, see, you are a dead man because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife. However, Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, Yahweh, would you kill a righteous nation also? Did he not say to me, she is my sister, and she, even she herself said, he is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and in the innocence of my hands I have done this. And Elohim said to him in a dream, yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, and so I keep you from sinning against me. For this reason I did not let you touch her. And now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and let him pray for you, and you live. But if you do not return her, know that you shall certainly die, you and all that is yours." So Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all of his servants and spoke all these words in their hearing, and the men were greatly frightened. And Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? In what have I sinned against you, that you have brought on me and on my reign a great sin? You have done matters to me that should not be done." And Abimelech said to Abraham, "What did you have in view, that you have done this matter?" And Abraham said, "Only because I said to myself, the fear of Elohim is not in this place, and they shall kill me for the sake of my wife. And yet she is truly my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And it came to be, when Elohim caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said to her, This is your loving commitment that you should do for me in every place. Wherever we go, say of me, He is my brother." Then Abimelech took sheep and cattle and male and female servants and gave them to Abraham, and he returned Sarah, his wife, to him. And Abimelech said, "See, my land is before you. Dwell wherever it is good in your eyes." And to Sarah he said, "See, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. See, it is to you a covering of eyes before all who are with you and before all others, and you are cleared before everyone." And Abraham prayed to Elohim, and Elohim healed Abimelech and his wife and his female servants, so they bore children. For Yahweh had closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. So once again, we see Abraham and Sarah wandering into a town, and this time, instead of Pharaoh, they're speaking to Abimelech. And we're going to see that name again also. So you might highlight that too. Anyway, same thing happens. They take Sarah. Yah punishes them, makes them all barren so that they can't have children, and everything is messed up. And Abimelech's like, pfft. And obviously he knows about Yahweh because he addresses Yahweh. Anyway, Yahweh tells him, "If you give Sarah back, I'll heal you. Everything will be cool, and we can move on from there. Just don't touch her." He says, I didn't touch her. He says, "Good, don't." So he calls Abraham up, same thing, yells and screams and hollers, "Why did you do this to me?" And Abraham explains to him, "Because she is my sister." So he gives him more sheep and more cattle and more servants, and Abraham's got quite a tribe with him now. He's toting quite a few people along with him and animals. So the tribe is growing, and more people are going to end up getting circumcised. So that's 19 and 20, Bereshith, Genesis. And I hope that you had a good study. I hope that you are learning, and I hope that you're enjoying this. It's the most beautiful love story ever written about a creator and his children. Good book. Alright, well, I guess that's all I've got for you tonight. Thank you for joining me, and we're going to continue on through the book. Y'all have a good night. Shalom.